Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Several people sent me the story from the Detroit Free Press, the paper I delivered as a young man in southeastern Michigan, and said, Steve, is this true? Nancy Caffer wrote the story, headlined, Ilitch-owned company is issuing parking tickets. Can they do that? And if you don't know, the Ilitch family is the family that founded Little Caesars Pizza, and they are known for their investments in downtown Detroit. And at various times, they've owned different sporting franchises and so on, and they're a big player downtown. So the question is, if you park on one of their properties, and they say you didn't have permission to do that, and they issue you a parking ticket, is that something you have to take care of? So she tells the story of Matt Wilkinson, who comes downtown quite a bit, catch Tiger games and shows at the theaters. And before the pandemic, he even volunteered as a tour guide for Preservation Detroit. So when he's heading to a show at the Fox Theater recently, he drove to a lot he's parked in before, and an attendant waved him in, said it's $20, and then a second attendant said, park here. He parked there, went inside, saw the show. When he got back to his vehicle after the show, he was surprised to see a parking ticket on the windshield, and even more surprised that the $50 ticket had been issued not by Detroit, but by Olympia Development. So most parking tickets issued by cities will say, City of Royal Oak, parking ticket. And if you don't pay this, we're going to come after you. And it'll be captioned, City of Royal Oak versus you. But this is a parking ticket that says it's been issued by Olympia Development, which of course is a company owned by the Ilitch family. So that's the real estate development arm of their business, which includes the Little Caesars Pizza chain, the Detroit Tigers, the Detroit Red Wings, Little Caesars Arena, Comerica Park, and the Fox Theater as well. It is not an arm of the government or any other law enforcement agency. And that, of course, is who normally issues parking tickets. So when he returned to his car after the show, he said he saw tickets on the windshields of nearly every car in the lot and 4 workers standing around a golf cart who appeared to be writing tickets. So he said that he went over there and asked them about this and said, I paid and the other man parked me. There's 100 other people here. And the ticket writer was apologetic but said, I'm sorry, you can appeal it. Now, what's the appeal process when a private company writes you a ticket? But she said, you can appeal it. So now the man doesn't dispute that Olympia has the right to charge for parking. They also have the right to deny people access to the property. They don't have to let you park there. He's agreeing with that. But if the lot was closed on Saturday night, why wasn't it secured? And by the way, who was the guy who took his money? And who was the other guy who told him to park? And this is a thing we've heard of before, that you go someplace busy and there's someone wearing an orange vest and they tell you to park, and they actually just decided to do that because the lot was open, and unless someone chases them away, they can do that and pocket all the money. But how would you know that as the person who's parking your car? And I remember one time years ago, my brother and I went downtown to run a race, and I think it was a 10K race. I don't think it was a full marathon. And we parked near the course, and there's a guy standing there. And when we parked, he walked over and said, that's $10. And we looked at the guy, and the guy wasn't wearing a vest, no identification, no nothing. But we gave him $10 because the thought is, if you don't flip him $10, what's he gonna do to your car while you're gone? And we came back, and sure enough, there's 2 or 3 other cars parked there, but there's nobody there. So I suspect the guy we were dealing with was not exactly the president of the corporation. So he's also wondering, that's back to the man in the story here, does a private corporation have the authority to levy fines or to collect fines? Nancy Caffer of the Free Press wrote or contacted the mayor, Mike Dugan, who then referred questions over to Olympia Development, saying the incident occurred on private property and does not involve the city, which of course is kind of her point. Olympia admits that it has a parking team that issues citations, and that's the word they use, citations, but wouldn't answer questions about how the parking team operates or under what authority it issues tickets. Occasionally, we issue citations for vehicles parked in spaces marked reserved for residents or tenants or restricted for other reasons, the director of communications for Olympia said. His name is Ed. In this situation, our parking team mistakenly issued a citation and will work with the guest to resolve the issue. Because they referred to him as a guest because he was actually at a show at a theater they owned. Meanwhile, the man said he emailed that spokesperson, and after a few questions got asked by the Detroit Free Press, the Olympia vice president of parking contacted the man, apologized, saying he'd been ticketed in error, and offered him a free parking pass. So it goes from you owe us money to here's a free pass. In an email, he told the man that all of the citations were voided. All of the citations that were issued that day in that lot were voided. But the company didn't explain to the man why they ticketed him in the first place or under what circumstances the company believes it could legitimately issue a ticket. And the spokesperson hasn't responded to a follow-up email by the Freep, at least before the deadline. So Nancy says, I still have a lot of questions. That's Nancy Kaffer. When did Olympia start issuing tickets? How does the company enforce payment? If a lot at Cass and West Adams was closed that night, why wasn't it secured? And who took this man's money? Can a private business issue parking tickets? And here's the thing. Not in the sense of an actual parking ticket, but they could argue that they've got some right to get some money from you, except, of course, there's no notices indicating any of these things. So you're driving around downtown Detroit and you see an open lot. An open lot. There's a surface lot there, and it's not chained. There's nothing keeping people out of it. There's no signs, no parking. There's nothing there. You park there. Okay? I don't think they have the authority to ticket you for that. They don't have the authority to do anything for you on that. Now, if they posted signs that said, private lot, no parking, violators will be towed, they can do that because they have the right to remove your vehicle from their property if you've been warned. So that's one thing, but that's not the same as issuing a ticket, because issuing somebody a ticket is implying that we have the authority to charge you this money and some kind of enforcement capability if you don't pay it. And I'd like to see what this ticket said on it. Does it say you're making a voluntary payment? Or does it say you owe us money? If you don't pay us, we're going to come after you? Attorney General in Lansing encourages anyone who's been issued a parking ticket by private business to file a complaint with her office. So the Attorney General in Lansing apparently found this intriguing as a concept. One longtime lot operator interviewed by the Free Press said that a business can require payment from drivers it believes have parked illegitimately, but said such notice should be accompanied by what they call an honor box, which is some way to pay on the spot, such as signage that says no free parking at any time, pay into this box. But people don't look at the sign anyway. They look at the guy with the flag who looks like he knows what he's doing, and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. So every parking operator, he said, is familiar with the scam in which imposters collect money from unsuspecting drivers, adding, I never would have put tickets on a bunch of cars when it was my fault not putting an operator on the lot in time. And so if there's a show at the theater right across the street from this lot, and people are going to be showing up looking for parking, why wouldn't they put their own guy out there and have him collect $20 a pop on those cars? Why wouldn't they? And you're telling me that they don't think of this? Like it doesn't occur to them? The Illiches, by the way, are one of the richest families in America. And one thing they have a lot of is parking lots. So you'd think they'd have this figured out by now. Their company has a near monopoly on parking around its holdings, profiting two- and threefold off downtown visitors who park in their lots. Attending events at Illich-owned venues and eating and drinking in their establishments, now it appears the Illiches have found yet another way to capitalize on their assets, and that is by ticketing vehicles in their lots, but not having attendance. Private companies often operate with little scrutiny and a great deal of autonomy, particularly in Detroit, where private security patrols public space throughout Midtown and downtown. And such companies are largely unaccountable for secretive practices such as how they employ private security. So it looks like, at least for that evening in that lot, they've decided to not go after any of those people they issued tickets to. And the guy who complained and got his name in the paper got a free pass. Apparently that's good in the future. But that raises the original question, what right do they have to issue a ticket? Now, they can send you a bill and say, would you please pay this bill? And you can just say no. And one of the ideas you have to remember is that so much of this stuff in life is based on contract. So you pull up to the parking lot and assume the guy that you're dealing with is an actual rep of the company. And he says, pay us $20, you can park here. You pay him $20, you can park there. That's the exchange, $20 for the right to park there. That's a contractual relationship. But if there's a vacant lot with no signage and you park your car there, they can't come by and unilaterally say, oh, you now owe us money, we're going to ticket you, you've got to pay this ticket. There's no authority for that. However, like I said, there is the interesting twist that if it's marked and they decide to tow your vehicle, they might be able to do that. They'd have to check into the local ordinances and whatnot. But generally speaking, if I own a piece of property, let's call it a parking lot, and I have signs all around it that say private parking, private property, no public parking, violators will be towed. Most cities have ordinances that say you can post a sign as long as the sign is this size, has this language, says these things, da-da-da-da-da. You put that sign up, and then when somebody parks on your lot illegally, you can have the car towed. That's fine. That's within your rights. But to say that, oh, there's no marking on this parking lot at all, we don't even know who owns it, but someone's standing out front taking money from people, cars are being parked there, but that guy doesn't work for us. So we're going to go up and down these rows of cars and issue tickets. And the fact that they had 4 people and a golf cart and some machine that prints out tickets shows that they're aware of this situation. How are they not aware of the guys taking the money at the beginning wearing vests? I'm guessing they're wearing vests. That might be a little editorializing on my part because that's commonly what they do. They put on a vest and stand in front of a parking lot, and you flip the guy money. And I mentioned not too long ago, I went to a concert in Detroit about 2.5 weeks ago. And the venue is here, and right next to it is a muddy parking lot. And as you pulled in, there's a guy standing right there, and he's wearing a thing that says security, front and back, security. And he goes, I believe it was $10. $10 to park in the mud, right there. Flip the guy $10. Now, how do I know that he works for them? I don't know. But a lot of people paid this guy money. But he was wearing a thing that said security, and he's 50 feet from the venue. You kind of think that the people who run the venue would know that there's some guy standing right next door charging admission to a muddy parking lot. And that gets us back to the Illiches. They must know that this is happening at their parking lot. So it's a problem. But as far as I can tell, as far as the Attorney General can tell, and as far as Nancy Kaffir can tell, there is no actual authority to issue private parking tickets like this within the city of Detroit. So that's the headline. Illich-owned companies issuing parking tickets. But can they do that? Nancy Kaffir, the Free Press, wrote it. Jason, Brad, and James all sent it. Thanks a lot. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. A printer consists of 3 main parts: the case, the jammed paper tray, and the blinking red light.